All right, so good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining today. What we're going to cover over the course of today and tomorrow is how we're going to be using the manufacturing module in MyOb for Alphaline. Okay. Uh, we have decided to implement manufacturing in multiple phases. So for this phase, we're just going to be using materials. We're just going to be recording materials cost for manufacturing. So the training will revolve around materials and the costing for that as far as Alphaline is concerned. Okay. Um, Now, I generally prefer uh, one of y'all to lead and go through the system so that you all have hands-on practice from the beginning instead of me just doing everything and just talking and y'all listening. Is that okay?
Yep,
Yeah. So, Nathan, do you want to lead?
sure.
Yeah. And share your screen. So I want you to log in.
On mouse, Nathan.
Okay.
I'll be able to do one there.
All right. Let's go to the test tenant. So I'm assuming Bryce and Steve, y'all are familiar with MyOb. Y'all are using it on a day-to-day basis.
Correct.
Okay. And in what capacity are you using it right now?
Mostly for purchase orders.
Okay. Just creation of purchase orders and doing the purchase order receipt?
Yeah, mainly.
Okay. No worries. All right. Now, what we're going to, our topic for that we're going to cover today is our basic manufacturing setup and MRP setup and how to use MRP as well. Okay. So let's start with the manufacturing setup. Okay. So manufacturing has been broken into different modules in the system. So one of them is bill of material. The other one is called production orders. And the third one is materials requirement planning, or MRP for short. So today we're going to cover bill of material and MRP, and tomorrow we can cover production orders and how it relates to Alphaline.
Cool.
Okay. So before we can obviously do anything in the system from a production perspective, we need to make sure we have the actual bill of material in place for that item. In our case, we build tiny homes. So we need to have the bill of material for the tiny home in the system so that we can start working on it.
Makes sense.
Yeah, every module in the system has certain preferences, like basic default parameters of how we want the module to function. So you would find that under preferences. So in bill of material, you go under preferences, you will see BOM preferences. Now these are something. This is something that once we set, we rarely change. Okay. So for example, it starts with the bill of material numbering sequence. If we want, we can automate. We can have our own numbering sequence. Okay. Uh, Nathan, if you don't mind clicking on the pencil icon next to the yes. So we can have our own bill of material numbering sequence in the system. Okay. As you can see in this, instead of automating it, what we've said is we've kept it to a manual numbering. Okay. Now, the reason for that is because we want to maintain the bill of material numbering based on the project code that we create. As you know, in tiny homes, what we do is we don't have a specific sales order. We create a project for every order that we get. And what we are going to do is we are going to link that project to a production order. And the production order will be linked to a item which is linked to a bill of material. So we want to make sure that bill of material name is exactly the same as the project code. It makes it easy to link together. So we are going to be what do you say, manually maintaining the numbering of bill of material. Okay, you can close this pop-up window. Okay, we are not going to be covering ECR. Sorry, can you just click on? Yeah, we're not going to be covering engineering change orders or anything approvals, so we don't have to worry about those. What is our default revision? Our revisions are based on alphabets A, B, C, D, E, F. So what's the default revision? Do we allow duplicates in the bill of material? By duplicates, I mean, can the same item be repeated in a bill of material? We have said yes. Can the same item be repeated within the same operation as a component? We've said yes. We don't have a specific default work order. We have, because obviously the process of building a home is pretty long, lengthy. Then, okay, what is the operation time format that I want to use in the system? Now, some of our operations can be very lengthy. It can go up to days, and that's why it is days, hours, and months. If it was a quick process, Nathan, you can click on the drop down there, operation time format. I have different formats. The quickest being hours and minutes. Obviously, it takes a lot of days to make a tiny home, so we've kept it to the max. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Any questions on this? If we have a default finish time, queue time, or move time, whenever we create a specific BOM, we can do this, and it will automatically pop up in the bill of material. Okay, it is just a default, nothing else. Okay.
What's the point of allowing duplicate items on a bill of material?
Actually, you do have a lot of
The same
duplicate
one.
items in your bill of material. And I think Nathan can answer that question, the reason for that.
Well, the 19 mil ply we use it on the floor, or we could use it in cabinetry.
Okay, so different applications, same material. Got
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Makes sense.
Okay.
And it's required at different times.
Okay.
So,
Yep.
Okay. All
So
right. Let's talk.
Sorry,
Yes.
really quickly. So the bill of material numbering, that'll match our project numbers? Is that what we're
That is
saying?
the idea. We will manually be doing that. Yes. It'll kind of make it easy to identify.
there's something we'll have to work through with if we get a project that has. So sometimes we sign a contract with a customer where they will purchase 5 tiny homes from us.
Yeah. Yes.
And they'll all fall under the same contract,
Mhm.
but each one will have a different payment schedule. So,
So will you create one project or will you create multiple projects for those?
Multiple.
well, in that situation, there will be most likely multiple projects.
So each
If
project can belong to a different bill of material.
Yep.
Or you can use the same bill of material. It's up to you. The bill of material is reusable.
If across those 5 jobs we negotiate in the contract that it's one payment schedule across those 5 houses,
Yes.
then we will do one project with 5 production orders.
If that's the way you want to control it, or you can create one production order with the quantity 5. Are all 5 homes going to be the same?
No.
They might be different in configuration.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, you can attach as many production orders as you want to a project, not an issue.
Yeah.
cool.
Done.
Yeah. Okay. So if you want, you can make 5, you can make 1. It's completely up to you.
Yeah, that's the way to go, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you have 5 different bill of materials, then what I would suggest is to give it a the project code followed by A, B, C, D, E.
Yep.
If that helps, or you can just give it the same bill of material and different revisions, A, B, C, D, E. And in the production order, the same bill of material with a different revision number. Even that will work. It's
We'll
completely
copy
up to you.
Mm.
Yeah.
'Cause then you
So
can
it's up to you.
plot each one.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Thanks, Bhavesh.
All right. Yeah. Let's go back to the bill of material module, please. Now, if we were monitoring labor, we would create shifts. Now, the system demands that I at least have one shift in the system, even though I am not doing labor. So what I have done, if you don't mind clicking on shift, I've created one shift. Okay. As you can see, the crew size is only one. We've not gone into the details of labor yet. Okay. But yeah, that's what we've done right now. Once in subsequent phases, when we start discussing labor, then I will update that and the labor codes as well. The system demands that we create at least one direct labor code, and that's what we have done. Okay. All right. Now, the next step is to make sure all my items are in place. Before I can start using the bill of material, right? I want to make sure I have defined all my items in the system. So I will go to stock items. So let's go to stock items. And let's click on any one component item first. Nathan? So in the stock items, I have to make sure all my component items are set up. Okay. So in this example, we have screws. Screws. So I'm not going to be delving into the item class and the accounting for it, but the type is very important. Okay. Nathan, if you don't mind clicking on the down arrow key for that type, there are three options here: finished good, component, and sub-assembly. So for Alphaline, there are no sub-assemblies. We've created the entire bill of material on one level, but you can create sub-assembly items as well. And each sub-assembly item can either be a phantom or can require its own bill of material. That means you'll have to create a production order for it. Okay. Now, you can tell the system whether this component item is purchased or it is transferred from another warehouse. Again, from an Alphaline perspective, it is all purchased. So if you actually go to manufacturing, the tab manufacturing, yeah, where it says default mark for, basically. So whenever we create a production order, and if this item happens to be a component, it will be marked for purchase. Whether we want to consider this, whether we want MRP to consider this item, we can tick that. If we do not, we can untick that as well. Whether we want the system to check for material availability, it's an important component. Without this, we cannot continue work. So yes, as well. Okay. If we were not, if we want to maintain basic inventory for this item, then we should also cover replenishment. If you click on the replenishment tab, yeah, and there we have an option called min-max method. As you can see over here, okay, can you go back to general? Sorry, please, if you don't mind, clicking on the general tab.
Left or left.
Sorry.
Nathan, if you don't mind going back to the general tab, I just wanted to see what was the unit of measure for this each. Okay, so does this thing come in a box or something?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, it's 1,000 box.
Yes.
Correct? So in the replenishment, now if you go back to replenishment, what we're telling the system is my reorder point is 1. and my max is 3. That means whenever I reach 1, the system can generate a replenishment purchase order to order 2 more, basically. That's what I'm telling the system here.
Yeah.
Okay. This is not mandated, but it's a good to have in case you're interested. Now, if I had multiple warehouses and this item is treated differently in each warehouse, then I can go to the warehouse tab. And here I would have the list of all warehouses. Now, then I can just click on the warehouse. Like in this case, it's TH. And I'll see a pop-up window. And over here also, I will have replenishment, costing, and manufacturing, all 3 options. So if it is warehouse specific, I can make those changes here. So if I had 2 warehouses and my replenishment formula was different, because one could be more fast moving, the other one could be slow moving, I can actually do that as well. In case of Alphaline, we have only our base of operations is 1, so we don't have to worry.
Not 2.
Okay.
1.
All right. You can close this pop-up window.
It's one warehouse with 2 facilities.
Yeah. Now, one thing I did notice, Nathan, if you go back to the general tab, please. Under warehouse defaults, okay, the default warehouse is TH, which is correct, but the default issue from and receipt to has not been updated. Remember, we created locations for the 2
Yes.
warehouses? Yes,
Yeah.
we need to update all the items. What is the default issue and what is the default receipt?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Right now, everything is going to that main. So that's what it is. All right. Okay. Now, let's open one finished good item. We also have to define all the finished good items in the system. So what we have decided is we've decided just to create one finished good called a house. So, Nathan,
hang on,
if you don't,
Bhavesh, just to clarify that the type, this component part, anything
yes,
with the component part is something that we'll go on a purchase order to be purchased in, whether it's stock or non-stock or whatever, doesn't matter.
Okay.
A finished good is something that we will manufacture and produce as a finished good, like a laptop out of a factory.
Yeah. And there's parts in that laptop.
Like
Yeah.
decking.
Yeah.
Got ya.
Like
Yeah.
deck and
Well, as a tiny home.
Yeah.
A tiny
yeah.
home will be
Finished goods.
our finished goods. The
Yeah.
only finished goods in here
Will be
will
homes and
will
deck
be
kits.
directly related to
the
a
project.
production order
Yeah.
or a project.
Got ya.
Yeah.
Understanding.
Is that correct, Bhavesh?
yes.
Perfect.
So if you don't mind typing in house, search for house, or type can be only finished good. Yeah. So where it says test house,
Sorry, we have to fix this.
Yeah, that's it.
Right. That's the test.
Yeah.
all right. Now, obviously here you can see the difference in type. Instead of component, it says finished good. Okay. Same thing with the warehouse defaults at the bottom. We need to correct the issue from and the receipt to. Okay. Now we have decided to do valuation method for this as average costing. That's fine. Let's go to the manufacturing tab. Okay. Now over here, you'll see something called default BOM ID. Since it's a finished good and it's manufactured, right? We can point it to a base bill of material. In this case, it's pointing to the one that you see on your screen. we can have a different bill of material for planning as compared to what we generally produce, in case if we wanted to do that as well. If we leave the planning BOM ID blank, the system assumes whatever is my default BOM will become my planning BOM.
Mhm.
Okay. Nathan, can you close this pop-up, please? Default mark for production. So in this case, whenever I use this item, it will be marked for production instead of purchase. Again, do I want MRP to consider this? Yes. Do I want to check material availability? Yes. Okay. Again, since I have only one warehouse, yeah. I don't think for a finished good you would have replenishment, correct, Nathan? It's not something that you just make and keep and you wait for someone to order it, right?
No.
In your business is purely make to order item.
Yes. Yes.
Correct. Then you should tick on that make to order item as well. In case you ever create a sales order for this item, it will automatically mark it for production. It'll, that's all. All right, let's click on save. So this way I have to go about creating all my items, component, sub-assemblies, and finished good. Okay. The next thing, obviously, I also want to check my warehouse setup. So if you don't mind going under to inventory and warehouses. Yeah. I will do the same thing for non-stock items. So there are many items that I may not want to maintain inventory of. They are too small. So as soon as I buy them, I want to expense them. So I can create non-stock items as well and attach them to my bill of material. Now, this is my warehouse setup. So I know physically we have two warehouses, which are not very far from each other. But what we've decided to do is we've decided to use both of them as one warehouse. And within the warehouse, we are marking them as separate locations. So as you can see, there is F28 and F69, which tells you those two facilities. Now, we could have gone down to the level of creating locations within those facilities as well. But to keep it simple, we've just created two locations for the entire warehouse. Okay.
No worries.
Yeah. If you actually want to see where that item resides, then you can create locations for those. So there have been instances where people have created each bay and each rack as a location, and they've been using scanners and doing that. So when they look for any inventory in the system tells them each rack where it belongs, and they can go and pick it out from there. Okay.
The reason we
in our case,
sorry,
sorry?
Bhavesh, the reason we have to go with one warehouse is because of the move transactions. So move transaction can only occur within the same warehouse. So if we move a trailer
From there
to
here.
Framing,
Has to be the
it's
same
all
warehouse.
on the same production.
Mhm.
Otherwise, we have to create a transfer from one warehouse to the other. And I think that's just a process we don't need.
I
A
agree.
level of complexity that we don't need.
As long as we have that
Yeah.
those two locations in the same
Yeah.
warehouse, that's all
Yeah.
we need.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Okay. So whenever we receive it, we can choose those locations. At least we know where the item is. So just to keep it simple in the system. Okay. All right.
Excuse me.
If you see the last, obviously each location we can allow different kinds of activities, as you can see. So we've said we want to allow manufacturing, assembly, everything, and we want to include those locations in MRP. Look at your last column on the right, where MRP is ticked. Now, if that would be unticked, MRP would not consider that location. So if you had any inventory in there, system MRP would not consider that location as a source of supply. Okay. All right. Under this, you also have one tab called manufacturing. Correct. Basically, this is basically related to MRP. Do you want MRP to look at this warehouse as a whole? Consider it yes or no. And if yes, what things in this warehouse should be considered by MRP: forecasting, inventory on hand, master planning schedule, shipments, etc., etc., etc. And that's what I've done. I have said, yes, we want MRP to consider all these within this one single warehouse. Okay. So when we run MRP, this entire warehouse will be considered as a source of supply or demand. Okay, so far?
Yep.
All right. Let's go back to the bill of material, please. Bill of material module. Okay. So let's go back to the bill of material module. Yeah. Now, before we can start creating a bill of material, we need to have something called a work center in place. What is a work center? Work center is a place where you do an operation or a set of operations. So in case of tiny homes, I think the first thing you do is you build the frame, correct? So you can actually have a work center wherein you have a welding machine, and you have to join all the steel, to make it into a frame. So that can become a work center. If you had multiple steps within that work center, you could make them into multiple operations as well.
Under the one work center?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. And then, just like a normal production line, once your frame is ready, it might go to the next step. And that's what it is, which has a different set of machines and different crew working on it. So that's what we've done here. As you can see, there are 7 different work centers that we have for creating a tiny home. Okay, we have the base fabrication row. Now, if you click on any one, Nathan, the first one, yeah, we generally use a setup of a work center to also tell the system what is my standard labor rate at that work center. Okay, since we are going to be implementing labor at a later date, right? The standard cost is 0 for now. And what is the basis of capacity for this work center? So the system allows you to do rough cut planning, wherein you can actually tell the system, I have to make 5 different houses. They might all be using the same work center. So I want you to plan for me based on my requirement date, what is the capacity that I have? Okay. And then you can tell the system, okay, I want you to consider the crew size for the capacity or the number of machines. And the system will plan accordingly and give you a rough cut plan based on that. Okay. Then I can choose to backflush materials at this work center. So backflushing means I only use the raw materials when I want to consume them immediately. So I can use a concept of backflushing in the system. If I issue the material today and I won't be using them, I'll use them over a period of 3 or 4 days, then backflushing is not the way I want to go down. So in our case, at least in case of Alphaline, the process for manufacturing is pretty long, right? So in our case, we won't be backflushing them. We will be issuing the materials to a production order, and that's how we will go.
So you only use the backflushing function if you're going to use the entire quantity of the material at the same time, all at once.
That's the idea behind it. Yes, okay. Correct. Yeah. So basically, as soon as you need it, you use it and you consume it. Correct.
Right.
Yeah. The lead time is pretty short. So if you were process-driven manufacturing, like you were making something like soaps or something like a dedicated line, that's where you would backflush. Makes more sense. Yep. Okay. Whether this work center is a control point. Okay. Now, control point is basically you're telling the system, I want to report completion of that production at this level. Yes or no? Okay. All right. Then we have other options there which are related to labor and other different kinds of costing, which we are not doing in this phase. We are just sticking to material. So as far as we are concerned, okay, uh, we are only interested in creating the work center, okay, and how we want to deal with scrap. We have three options. If you don't mind, Nathan, clicking on that scrap action default under the general on yes. So either we can leave it the way it is, we can write it off, or we can quarantine. Okay.
What's the difference between no action and write off?
Write off will basically just write it off your books and expense it. No action will just keep it in inventory. That's all.
So we want no action then. We want to keep it
Yeah.
whatever we haven't used in the inventory.
Yeah. And quarantine will basically quarantine it. If you have a location for quarantine, it'll just say, okay, so it should be sitting there.
Without
That's it.
using
Yeah. In your case, you are not going to have scrap because you're just making one huge home. Okay. I know it's called a tiny home.
So
but-
these settings impact the finished good more so than
Yes.
the component parts.
Yes. This is for the finished good.
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
yeah. So if you were making, like I said, if you were making something which was in volume and you were getting scrap out of that, then how do you want the system to manage scrap? That's what.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Okay. All right. So you can come out of this. Huh?
Oh, so scrap of the finished good. Gotcha. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How do you want to
yeah,
manage the scrap of finished good? Now, in
Yeah.
your case, there should be no scrap. It's just one home, right? Yes.
half a house.
Yeah.
You got half a house.
But-
Cut the cake of soap off halfway.
Yeah.
Yeah. But imagine if I was making something which was something very tiny and processed
Like a
even, and I was
sausage.
making them in the thousands, and I could get some bad sausages coming out. So how should I deal with them? That's my scrap.
Okay.
It's worse if you
Yeah.
get bad sausage.
Yeah, there's nothing worse.
Okay.
Good idea.
Yeah.
The sausage talking.
Yeah, keep it in here. Well, that makes sense so far.
Okay. All right. So this is my work centers. Now I can start going and creating my bill of material. So let's go to bill of material. Now there are two ways to create bill of material. If I had everything at the top level, I can use bill of material. Or Nathan, if you don't mind going back to the bill of material menu, please. I can use engineering workbench. Can you click on engineering workbench? It's a very nice way of displaying your bill of material. So can you choose any bill of material that you have? Yeah, this is the one that Nathan has created. And it gives you a nice breakdown. It's an easy way to see what we need for each operation. So if you scroll back up to the top,
This is
Nathan?
handy.
Yeah, this is
Now-
really-
this is very handy if you had sub-assemblies and you wanted to drill down and see what is in the sub-assembly. If I use the other option, I can only see the top level, the first level of the bill of material. So yeah, if you don't mind going to bill of material, Nathan, in a separate tab and then showing them how that looks like. Now, in your case, everything is at the top level, so you can use either screen. It doesn't matter. So this is what a bill of material screen looks like. Okay. So what you're seeing is on the header side, you're seeing the bill of material ID,
Yes.
correct? Then you're seeing the revision number. As you can see, the revision is B. That means the second revision. Okay. Then on the right-hand side, you see the inventory ID that this bill of material belongs to, test house BON, and the warehouse. The warehouse can be it's optional. You can leave that blank. That means it's universal. If it is for a specific warehouse, if you had multiple warehouses and your bill of material differs by warehouse, then you can put in the warehouse code. Otherwise, it's optional. You can leave it blank.
So you can still see
All right.
that whole list if you click on it, like you just did then. You just clicked on bolts and it's got everything there, like it does on the left, Nathan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So-
It has it
so-
all spread out completely.
Yeah.
This one.
Now, Now the difference is if one of these items was a sub-assembly, that means it has its own bill of material. The screen on the right, you cannot go down, but the screen
Okay.
on the left, you can explode.
Got ya.
And that would be the advantage of using the screen on the left.
Yep.
So I can scroll down right down to the lowest level.
So, for example, our couplings. The coupling to me would be a bill of materials that consists of the coupling, the bolts.
Which is a sub-assembly.
Yeah, there's the sub-assembly includes the coupling, the bolts, the brake cable to the handbrake,
Handbrake.
the
Yep.
little fucking pulley thing,
Little
at the
tensioner.
back. That all forms part of that.
Whereas
assembly.
if you were in this right-hand screen, you wouldn't see all that breakdown.
No.
You
And
wouldn't
then
be able to access it.
that assembly sits inside a trailer
Yeah.
assembly
Yeah.
of a particular size.
So if you
weight.
blew up the trailer assembly, it would show up that is an assembly, but you couldn't explode that again. You'd have
Yeah,
to
yeah,
look at
you'd
the
have to.
screen to see it.
You can explode sub-assemblies to an infinite level
Yeah.
in here.
Now,
Oh, yeah.
the thing is, to make the system simple, we have not created any sub-assemblies. What
Yeah, that's
Nathan
like
has done
phase
is
3.
This is this first
Nathan.
phase, yeah.
What Nathan has done is has created just one level. So that's why you're not
Yeah.
seeing any sub-assemblies. You're only seeing the components of the sub-assemblies that is
Yeah.
required. That's why the same item might be repeated more than once.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. All right. So Nathan, yeah, you can close one of them and I can then go whatever. Whichever you let's stick to the one on the right. Yeah. Okay. So if you scroll right up to the top, so as I said, the header level is telling you the BOM ID and the items that are related to the BOM. Then the top is telling you the operation number and the work center that is going to be used for this bill of material. So we start with the operation ID. Okay. Nathan, one thing we can do, not obviously as part of training, but wherever you have your operation IDs as 22,000, 24, I would suggest to start them as 0010 and go from there. The reason is whenever you create a production order, the system will renumber. When it creates the production order detail, it'll renumber all the operations as 0010, 0020, 30. So in order to reduce confusion from your side, I would suggest to keep the operation ID similar to that. That's all. There is no harm in making it 22,000, 24, whatever, right? If that's the way you want to read it, that's fine. But tomorrow when we create a production order, I'll tell you what, I'll show you what it does. Okay?
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah.
Okay. So
As
as
long
you
as
can
it
see,
keeps those, as long as it keeps those operation descriptions.
no, it'll keep the description and it'll also
Yeah.
create the production order in exactly the same way you've created the operations. That means steel base will be first, then bolts, then running gear, then running exactly the same way. Don't have to worry about that.
So just while we're on the descriptions of those operations centers, I don't know if you've seen a correlation between that and the task list in the operation schedule.
Basically, it's the same.
That's
thing.
what I was talking about this morning. The list of tasks that are copy into the schedule. That's
Correlate
what
to
this is replicating.
Yeah.
We'll copy this into a new job, go through it, delete out whatever operations we don't need.
Yeah.
So whether we
Clean up the junk. Yep.
clean out the shit.
Whatever's left is necessary.
And then once you've done that for an unyoked, we can copy it.
Yeah. When you've done it once,
Yeah.
you've got it.
All these Tasmans, we can
Mhm.
copy it into the next job.
Man, that's good.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
When they're
Okay.
relatively the same, even if there's a few items that are
Yeah, you can
slightly
copy
different,
it,
you can copy
modify it,
modify
save
a
that
few
bomb.
bits. Yeah,
And, yeah,
love it.
So Jason will be creating the bill of materials.
Me.
he will be.
So how do you know what to put that in? That still come from a color selection, say roughly?
We'll have to get through colors first.
Yeah, it's a combination of color selections, spreadsheets and shit that I've got built in the background, like the bomb, the trailer stuff that Corey imports. Like the next stage is working out what's going to go in everything.
And we're not going to do a bill of materials, so we have everything finalized, like joinery plans, color selections, everything has to be finalized.
We'll have to bastardize it at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, because like as you said, these customers pick out different handles, different.
Yeah, we'll be able to change that
We'll
in.
be able to change that. Yeah.
This won't be populated with the items. It'll only be populated with the headers.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
There'll be
perfect.
nothing
Gotcha.
in the
Got you.
detail. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
The template.
Template.
Right.
You
sorry,
can also
Bhavesh.
attach. You can also attach notes and files and photos to each operation if you want. Okay, or you can attach it to the header level on the top, where it
What's that?
says on the top right, where it says files and notes.
Can you copy?
Oh, yeah.
I've been trying to copy emails across, but I seem to be failing. Will this new update be able to copy emails?
When you're saying copy emails,
Like in drag, can I drag an email chain across and put it in the file?
I think you've got to print
Oh.
the email.
To
Scan.
I think it needs
Print
to
it
have
to
an
PDF.
extension. You need to save it on your hard drive, and then you can drag and drop it. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Yeah.
Okay.
You can put them in there.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Now, another thing, Nathan, that we need to look into when it comes to operations, we have setup time, run units. Run units, make sure you put 1 for all of them instead of 0. Okay. The reason is, even for materials, it is not relevant, but for labor, it is very relevant, because when we come to the labor side, if that is 0, the system will calculate 0 labor all the time. So just to give you a heads up, make sure that run units and run time are important when it comes to labor calculation. Okay. Then what we need to do, at least for the first phase, Nathan, is you need to put in the finish time. The reason I'm saying you need to put in the finish time is, remember you told me what is the start, how much time does it take to make a home?
Mhm.
Right? If you want the system to calculate your purchase order promise date correctly, you need to make sure you tell the system how much time you need at each operation. Right now, the way the setup is, you're telling the system everything happens together. There is no time between each operation. As you can see, the finish time and the move time, everything is 0. So if we ever do planning or rough cut planning, the system will assume that I need all the material right at the
At the
beginning,
same time.
at the beginning of the start of the production order. And the system will try to order everything in advance. Now, if that's the way you want to do it, that's fine. But if you want to, break it down because you have a long production time,
Definitely
then you need to use that finish time to your advantage.
Well, how does the move date interact with the finish time? Do they?
So the start date of the next operation depends on how much time you take for the previous operation. So in your current setup, you're saying I don't need any time in my first operation. It's immediate.
Yeah.
So basically the system will say, okay, I'm going to start all the operations on the same date.
So all the operations for zone or work
Everything,
center
all work
Z2000 can
centers.
happen at the same time.
This, as per the setup that you have right now, yes. The system will say, I'm going to start and that includes all the other operations in all the other work centers as well.
Yeah, so all the operations in the next work center, I want to commence when that work center commences, which will be
so how much time do you take for the first work center to get? That's what I was saying.
Yeah. So how does the finish time work? Does it work on an accumulation basis across the operations? So if you have 1 hour in the first operation and another hour in the second operation, does that mean the third operation happens at the start of the third hour, or?
Yes, correct. Correct.
Okay, that's easy to do.
Uh,
You'll have to make all these operations for
but
the
I'm working more on a work center move time. The
You can use finish time or move time. It doesn't matter. For Alphaline specific, it doesn't matter whether you use finish time or move time. It's up to you.
move time.
So
Okay.
Let's just do that.
they're
Yeah.
just different. So the thing is, they have different meanings in the system. Finish time is telling the system that, okay, this is the time I need to finish my job, at that operation. Move time is, this is the time it takes after I've finished my job at the first operation to move it from one to the other operation, because they might not be together, right? So, for
Yeah.
example, you're moving from one uh, warehouse to the other house. So you might have finished it in 1 hour, right? But then to move it from that warehouse to this warehouse, it takes you 2 days. So your move time could be 2 days, and you can use either one or the other. It's up to you. You don't have to be that pedantic saying, okay, I want to be very exact with my finish time and my move time. You can use one or the other to include both the times.
And this relates to the finished good, not the component parts of.
Yeah, this is purely finished good. This bill of material is related to your finished good, nothing to do with the component part.
Makes sense.
Okay. So this timing that you have is for the finished good to move. It's for your production.
So how would you put this going? Say this is our first operation center.
I think I need to create a move operation description that contains that's for timing and authorization that.
No, you can just use the last operation for this work center and just put in the move time over there. That's it.
Yeah, but I want this. I don't want the user, like the person who's using this bill of materials, to have to think about that every time and set it. I just want them to calculate what quantities
But
are
you have
going in.
you have a base, right? Generally, you know how much time it takes to do the first part, so you can put in the base time. The
Yeah,
user
but
does
the
not have,
last.
because you can manipulate it later on as well. But it's better to have a base time in there so that you save yourself a lot of typing time going down.
Yeah, what I'm getting at is not every trailer has the same operation description or same operation IDs, because some don't have running gear. Some projects that we
fine.
build won't have steel in them.
Yeah.
That's okay, but
Even.
the amount you take to build the steel, so that's what I'm saying, is always going to be more or less the same. You have an average, right? So if you put the move time for each operation, as soon as you delete the operation, then move time is gone. And then it's automatically truncated. So
But that relates
you
to
have a
labor,
base
not the
time.
material.
Sorry?
That relates to labor more than material.
Yeah. To be honest, this move time and finish time relates more to planning the dates. The system uses that to plan dates. So that will impact you, Nathan. If you put this as 0, okay, I will explain this when we do MRP. Okay, let's just leave it for now.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at the bottom third of your screen, okay, so we are telling the system on this operation, which is my steel base, what is the materials that I need to have for this bill of material. So in this case, it's this 2009. I'm guessing that is steel, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm saying I need one quantity of this item, okay, at whatever unit cost it is. So I don't know how you order steel, but that's what you're saying. To make one tiny house, I need one of this item.
Yep.
Yeah, so we don't
Okay.
have to add, well, we sort of cheat there, is that correct? Because we don't put the individual items in there, we just go as per quote, quotes $5,000, here you
And
go.
with the windows, yes. Not every window goes in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't want to drill down that far, do we? Or was that?
So Bavesh,
Yes.
this unit cost,
Hmm.
if we have a quote item like this, for
Yeah.
example,
Yeah.
how do we input the cost of that quote against that line item? Because
Okay.
that's variable on every job.
Okay. Can you put this thing on hold? So once it is active, right, you cannot change the bill of material. To change it, you need to put it back on hold. So can you click on those three dots on the top? And
No, I think it's in here.
yeah, oh, you've hidden it. Okay, yeah. Just click on that and click on the hold and click on save. Click on save, please, first. Yeah, now double click on unit cost. You can change that.
Okay.
That's how we'll do it every time.
Yeah.
You have to
Okay.
show what it is.
So now you can put 5,000 there if you want. I think just type in 5,000, whatever.
Yeah, cool.
Okay, and then save.
Then you can take it off hold after that.
Yes, and make it active again.
Cool.
Okay. So whenever we create a new bill of material, by default, it's on hold. And once we are happy with it, then we can take it off hold, telling it that it is active. And now if we don't want anyone using that bill of material, it's become inactive permanently, we can archive it. So to archive it, you click on the three dots and there's an option to archive it. That will make it inactive permanently. Okay? Don't do that. But yeah.
But
It
after
doesn't matter. You can
after the project's done, do we do that with all of them?
No.
We don't need to
Because
do
you
that.
wanna-
No, you
You
can
may
always
wanna
copy
do it.
and create a new one. You can
Yeah.
always copy and create a new one. But
Okay.
yeah, just
Can we
Yeah.
unarchive? No, I don't think you can.
basically you're making it inactive. So you can
Yeah.
copy it and make a new one and use that.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
so it's not totally gone as a.
No. It's just
Yeah.
inactive. That's all.
Yeah.
Purpose of the archive.
So as you can see, what Nathan has done is he's created several different operations step by step, what work centers they belong to. Okay, so if you click on the second one, Nathan, the second operation, see the amount of materials we need for that.
Mhm.
Now,
That will also
Nathan,
be low one.
let's assume that your first operation took you 2 days. Okay. So, do you want the system to order all the materials for the second operation on the same date as the first operation, or do you want it to come after 1 or 2 days
I
so
want
that
all
it's just
So-
in time?
I want all
You know?
the materials for zone that work center
Yeah.
to come on the same day.
Okay. No worries. Okay.
So in that case, you can leave them all as 0 hours, 0 minutes, so they will order all at once at the same time for that one zone.
Yes. Yes.
So you won't
Yeah,
change
and
the
the last-
time until the next zone.
Or I would give the time between each in hours instead of days or minutes or something like that, or leave them as 0, whatever.
Yeah.
But the last operation for that zone or that work center, I would put in the total amount of time I need. So then the materials required after that, right, would be ordered based on that.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Which will be the next zone then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in my mind, like, how do you say, when the frame gets there, we
Yeah.
tell it framing takes 2 days.
Okay, so this is
And then the next zone,
stabilizing legs will be the last one.
That's why I think I've
Yeah.
got to create an operation that's got the time
yeah,
in it.
Yeah.
And that's the TAC,
yeah,
the 1.5 days.
yeah.
That's what manages. And then
It'll automatically do the next.
that's just a task to manage our deliveries.
Yep.
And delivery rhythm.
Mhm.
And the move will shuffle the rest down everything else. Labor will sit in here as a separate operation.
Yeah.
And we manage labor.
So
that way.
Separately,
labor
yeah.
won't be a separate operation. Labor won't be a separate operation because once we set up the work centers with the labor standard cost, every operation will calculate the labor by itself. You just have to report labor at that operation. That's all you need to do.
We will be dealing
How
with
much
that.
time?
Though. We won't
Sorry?
be dealing with labor, will we?
No.
Again, yeah, we need to worry about that in the next
We won't
phase,
be.
not in this one. In this phase,
Cool.
just focus on your material.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's enough.
Yeah. So
Well and
now,
truly.
yeah. So once I create this entire bill of material, okay, I want to see the cost of this thing. Okay, how much is the cost of my tiny home based on this bill of material?
Yeah.
So if I go on top and I click on those three dots,
You do still have it on hold. I don't know if that matters.
no, for calculating a BOM cost, it doesn't matter. So you can say calculate your BOM cost.
There we go.
Okay, that's
So it's-
fine. Yeah, if you had sub assemblies, you can say multi, but since you don't, you can say single level.
Okay.
Okay, if you had sub assemblies, then you would say multi. Then what it would do is it would start calculating the cost of each sub assembly and then keep coming higher and higher. So it'll always start at the lowest level and go from there. So your current bill of material that you have in front of you is costed at $25,500.
Yep.
Okay. Obviously, you guys are the experts, so you all know that, oh, is this bill of material telling me the cost close to what it should be, or is it low, or is it high? Because there you can just see the unit cost of each item and then you can correct it in case it's wrong. Like
the more
that
we check
steel.
that, Nathan, the better we'll know.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Once I'm happy with this, I want to make it active. I can just remove it off hold and click on save.
Active save. Right.
And once it is off hold, I can't make any changes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If I want to copy this and make another one, I just click on the three dots and I say copy BOM.
Top of it. It's very similar to a purchase order, Nathan.
Mm.
Essentially the same thing. You can't alter that if it's on active. You got to pull it on hold to change it.
So you have to create a new. That'll be where you label it.
Yeah, got ya.
Yeah, and I can
won't let
keep
you label it the same.
I can keep it the same BOM ID and I can give it a different revision number if I wanted
Yeah.
to, or I can give it a completely new BOM ID with revision A.
Got ya.
Okay.
So put
And
it
as
through
you
the
can
same
see,
home.
it copies it all updates all the material. It also copies the notes from your header. So if you have any notes or anything, it'll copy all of those.
That's perfect. So it'd be A, B, and C if you had three of the same homes.
Yes.
The same
Yes.
bill of materials ID.
You can have as many revisions as you want. There is no
Yep.
limit to that. So when you run out of Z, you can start with numbers. Not a problem. Okay.
Cool.
All right. We can cancel that. Now, in addition to materials, there are other things you can do. You can add steps. So on the bottom third, you'll see there are multiple tabs there. In addition to materials, we have steps. In case you wanted to print these steps in your production ticket, first do this, second step, do this. So if somebody new is doing this and you print your production ticket, the steps will print and they know exactly what to do. Okay. You can also create tools in the system and attach what tools are required for this step. If you had additional overhead, you can record overheads for this step. And if it was an outside process, that means you had a subcontractor doing this operation for you, you can say which supplier is the one who's doing the subcontracting as well.
Which we will do for, say, tiling and plumbing and stuff like that, Nathan. That'll probably be used. No?
That'll just be treated as a component.
Got ya.
Okay.
That's more if there's something done off-site.
On site somewhere, what do you mean?
Well, if we get a supplier to manufacture something for us on behalf
any-
of our production line.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
anything that you receive a supplier bill for on your, that's where this outside process means.
Right.
So even if they are coming in-house, okay, they're doing some work for you and then they give you a bill and you want to record that bill against the production order, that's an outside process.
So it has to go in there. So aircon, plumbing, tiling, they'll all have to go in outside processes then. Not as a
Okay.
component.
So we can discuss that. Okay. So
Yeah, please.
the point being the system allows you to capture that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So now my bill of material is ready. Any other questions you have on this? On bill of material, how to capture it?
No, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Okay. I have not covered phantom items or anything because that's not something which Alphaline needs, phantom items. So yeah. Okay. Now, if you go back to the bill of material menu, Nathan. Okay. You can make mask changes to like under processes. You can make mask changes if you wanted to replace an item or update something in all the bill of materials. You can do that.
That's all right.
You can run cost roll for multiple bill of materials. You don't have to go to individual material and say roll up the cost. You can do that in mass as well. Okay. So like this, if you're replacing an item, what is your current inventory ID? What is your new inventory ID? So if you know you're replacing an item in the future, so you can say, okay, this item is going to be replacing this one, and that is my effective date, 1st January 2025. And the system will update that. You'll see a start, every bill of material has a start date and an end date. So you can expire a bill of material based on that as well. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
So if you know that for this item you were using this bill of material till December, and then from December onwards it's going to be a new one, you can have a start date, end date, and then you can have a start date for the new one. System will automatically start planning based on the new bill of material because this one has expired. All right.
Those
And there
end
are
dates
many
can
reports.
vary a bit, don't they?
Yeah, and there are many reports
It's different
available
end
for you
date,
to see.
different.
Yeah. So if you go back to the bill of material menu,
This bill of material is like another, like we've got our stocked items database
Yeah.
and our non-stocked items database. Now we've got a bill of materials database, and they'll
Okay.
have a and like supplier pricing has its own database, and there's a start and end date on that price.
Yes.
This works kind of similar.
Okay.
It's got a start and an
Do
end
we have
date.
to put an end date on it?
No,
We don't have to.
No. When you archive it, that'll put the end date
Got you.
in there.
Makes sense.
yeah, you can
when you copy
manually, yeah,
We had to
make
start.
it.
Explaining that.
Yeah. All right, let's go back to the bill of material menu, Nathan. There are many inquiries and reports available to you which you can use. Okay. Where used in bill of material, in case you have to, you can compare two bill of materials, which will be helpful to you guys, especially if you're creating one from a base. So that BOM compare will be helpful. Visual BOM. If you go to the visual BOM, it's very similar to what we saw in the engineering workbench. Can you click under inquiries? There's a visual BOM.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So if you just choose one bill of material, please.
Go same one.
So very similar to that engineering workbench that we saw. This is just
Yeah.
a report though. You can't modify anything here. This is purely for viewing. So
Okay.
if you ever want to do someone to only be able to see the bill of material and not modify it, this is the option you can give them.
This is great for
That's
workers. This is
the only option.
That's great. That's phenomenal.
Yes, that'll help
Do we
automate.
need to get iPads for all the team
No.
leaders there? Just walk on their phones. a great system if they can use it.
Okay. As you can see, it's not on hold, so the system is not letting you make any changes. You need to put it on hold.
Yeah.
And then you can make, now if I wanted to add a new operation here, sorry. Okay, on the left hand side, you see those 3 dots on the right? Yeah. Click on those. Yep. It'll say add child. That means add a new operation. Okay, so it'll add a new operation, and so you can start creating your own bill of material. So if that's the way you want to do it.
And can you move that operation to anywhere in that schedule, or does it have to go at the start or the end?
It's sequenced by
It's
this
sequenced?
number.
Okay,
Yeah,
right.
that's how it
Just
does. So it depends on what number you give
Yep.
it.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, so if you
So
give
if
it a
it's
Z to 100, it'll go to the next one in the framing stage. Yep. Easy.
no, Z is your work center, not your operation number.
Zone.
Operation numbers, yeah.
Okay.
Operation ID. So if you
Yep.
want it to be between 22,000 and 24,000, just give it 22,200. It'll come in between those two.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Makes sense.
Okay. So this is your bill of material setup. Okay. Any questions?
Nope.
Awesome. All right. So let's move forward to MRP now. Let's see what the system can do as far as planning is concerned. Okay. So MRP can be found under yes. Let's start with preferences. Okay. So what is the general steps of doing MRP? First step, we tell the system to do the planning. It's called regenerate MRP, and highly recommended that you do this first thing in the morning so that you have captured all the transactions of the previous day in the system and before any transactions are done for today. So then system can give you a plan.
This is something that'll fall with you. I expect that most of this MRP planning stuff will be stuff that falls under your
Yeah.
scope.
This
Okay.
is all your material receipting and all of that stuff.
And delivery dates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
The system will suggest appropriate dates for purchasing for you. And then you can choose to ignore it or act on it. It's completely up to you. Okay. It'll also tell you, it'll tell you these are the items I need. I need to satisfy this demand. So these are the items I need. Okay. So first thing you do, the steps for MRP is you run MRP. Second step is you see for exceptions. By exceptions, I mean the system is telling you what are the things we need to expedite or we can defer, basically. The third step, you'll see, okay, what are the things that the system has planned? Okay. And that's how you will complete and then the fourth step is basically acting on that plan, creating purchase orders or transfer orders. Transfer orders comes into play if you have multiple warehouses. So in case one warehouse was supplying the other warehouse, that's when you need transfer orders. Again, for Alphaline, we don't have that issue. We have only one warehouse. Okay. So that's what exceptions. So let's start with what does exceptions mean? Basically, you're telling the system, and system is planning. How acceptable is it to you? The supplier sends you the material early, so you ask for it. Let's say today. Today is being the 1st of August. Okay, if they send it to you 5 days before, is it acceptable?
No.
Or from a plan perspective, right? And that's what they're saying. Days before acceptable is 10. That's what.
So we want to change that to 1 or 2, probably. 2 or
Sure.
3 days max.
You can change this. It's completely up to you.
Okay.
Okay. This is from a planning perspective only. You're telling the system, you're setting up like what are your accepting, parameters basically.
Yeah.
Then the same concept after. if
One.
yeah, yeah, basically, if it is can't be satisfied on that same day when you ask for it, how late can it be?
Mm.
Basically, so early and after, and
Okay.
the system exceptions will work based on that. So if there's anything coming before those 3 days or whatever, the system will say, "Oh, defer it." If it's anything after one day, the system will say, "Oh, we need to, hurry up
Chase
on
it.
this." Yeah,
Yeah.
expedite basically.
So when you do
So
this, will it come up with a list of things that are either overdue or going to be early, and then you can action them
yeah,
accordingly?
yes, you change the
Okay.
dates on the purchase orders. Correct.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, if it's early, it's already here.
Mm.
Okay. The next two things, forecasting. Now, your business does not work on forecasting, does it? I don't think you
Hey.
ever have. How many tiny home? This is forecasting is again generally done for FMCG firms where they forecast. Okay, we are going to be selling this number of items,
Like
going
basically all
forward or whatever.
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
don't forecast the homes.
Yeah. Correct.
We do forecast the stages.
We forecast the components of the home, but we don't forecast the
Materials
home
and items.
demand.
Okay. Now,
We
do you
build
want
to
to
order.
create forecast for those components, or do you want to run replenishment based on that min max for those components?
The
Replenishment.
yeah.
Yeah.
We
So
want
then
to
you
put
don't
it.
have to
We
worry
want
about.
to. We want to be able to put in a date. How do I say this? Like, all right, today's the 1st. On the 7th of August, I want to
Yes.
put in a date, 7th of August to the 14th, and I want to hit a button. I want to see what's due. And I also want to go the other way. I want to go to the 1st of August to the 7th of August, hit a button, see what's not received. Is that something what is that? How does that generate from? Does that generate from the min and
So
maxes? Does that generate from the POs?
So MRP is purely think of it source of demand and source of supply, and that's
Yeah.
how it's working. Now, in your case, for tiny homes, your source of demand, the source of demand normally is sales orders. Now, in your case, you don't create any sales orders for the homes. You create a project, right? So your source of demand will only come from when you raise the production order in the system. The system will say, I've created a production order. It's planned to start on the 1st of September. And the system will start planning based on that.
Okay.
And then it will tell you what it needs by when it needs based on your
Yep.
setup.
Yep.
So every stock item also has a option of which is your default supplier and how much time that supplier takes to deliver that item to you. So based on that, the system calculates, okay, by what date do I want it?
Okay. So we
So
have to
what we'll
manually
do
put
is
in.
we'll run a MRP. Okay, we'll create a production order and then we'll run an MRP and then we'll see what the MRP is trying to tell us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
It's a good way to start. If I had a master planning schedule, I could use that instead of forecasting. So if my planning happened not based on my sales, but on my master planning schedule, production schedule, I would be using MPS.
Just basically
Then,
your Excel sheet, Nathan.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then grace period on the right. Again, this is more to do with sales orders. So if I had a lot of running stock, I'm telling the system that, oh, I was supposed to ship on the 1st of August. What is my grace period? By how far can I push it so that I can satisfy that demand? I'm saying 30 days. I mean, that's the default that the system is saying, but you can say, oh, if I was supposed to ship on the 1st of August, my grace period is 7 days. That's it. I should satisfy that order within 7 days of its shipment date.
Okay.
That's what.
That's kind of like how you put a few extra days into your lead time in your schedule, Nathan. That's
Yeah.
kind of like the grace period.
But this will be the
Yes.
overall finished good.
Oh,
This will
yeah.
be the home.
Okay.
But again, this is related to sales orders, and you're not creating any sales orders.
No.
Why? Sorry,
So-
really quickly. How come we're not creating sales orders?
Because in your case, you're creating projects. Your demand is coming then from that project, and then it's linking to a production order. It's not coming via a sales order.
The project is required for project billing. The state
Oh, it's because yeah, I get you.
billing.
Stage payments need
Yeah.
a project.
Yeah.
Got ya.
Yeah.
Okay. What is your stocking method? Either it's safety stock or reorder point. You can change that. Okay. Safety stock generally, in case you have, again, fast moving goods, generally you would use safety stock, or you're using forecasting, for example, then you use safety stock. Otherwise, you can use reorder point. Then what is your purchase calendar? Very important. The system needs to know what are your working days, hours, holidays, so that when it's planning, right, it can take that into consideration. So if you click on the pencil on that purchase calendar ID, Nathan, now this is what I have set up based on what we discussed, Nathan, and we can update this if you think it's incorrect. So the day is from 6 in the morning to 2:30 in the afternoon. You have break time of 45 minutes. There are two break times. If you look at the break times tab, one is for 15 minutes in the morning and one is lunchtime, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct. Exceptions. Now, that is something that you need to populate. I haven't done it, but these are all the holidays. Okay.
Let's see the 4th of July.
Now, as you can see, it's saying 2014, 15, 16. But if you go to the last page of this,
Mhm.
yeah, it's already 2021. There are no holidays for 2024. So if you include those, when the system is planning, it will it will consider those holidays or that off time that you have. So when it's trying to tell you something, it will give you the correct dates.
We have to manually enter these holidays?
Yes.
Only once.
Okay. Yeah. Only once.
each year.
Each year, though.
Yeah.
Each year. Yeah.
Yes. Each year. Correct.
Okay. That
Okay.
break time for the start and end time is slightly wrong. It's 8:10 to 8:30. I know over a full year that'd probably add up those 5 minutes over so many guys.
Yeah. So sorry, go to the break times again, please.
I'll tell you what, the way they move, it doesn't seem like 5 minutes matters there.
Over 30 guys over a year probably add up.
Yeah.
Oh, you told me one day it doesn't. Until it's 15 grand.
Yeah, I worked there.
So I'll add dates to work. And that's only accessible via MRP preferences.
Yes. No. To update the calendar,
Yeah.
you can just type in work calendar, search, and it will come up.
No
It's
worries.
it's under organization basically.
Okay.
So okay. You can close this pop-up. Okay. The ones below that, whether you want MRP to include sales order on hold, purchase orders on hold, production orders on hold, etc., etc. I have ticked none of them, and generally people do not. You don't want MRP to consider stuff which is on hold anyway. So if you do, then yeah. If you want to use fixed manufacturing times, by fixed manufacturing times, I mean in your stock item, there is something called manufacturing lead time. If you want the system to consider that instead of each operation, you can tick on this. So if in the finished good, I say I take 30 days to make this item, and I tick on this fixed manufacturing time, the system will say, okay, 30 days, that's it. But if I want the system to automatically calculate the time I need based on the number of operations I have, then I don't need to use this. Okay.
So we probably won't use that. We use the base of operations to determine the time.
Yes. So that's on my bill of material. Correct.
No worries.
Now, consolidation. So when it is generating a plan order, like a purchase order or something, do you want the system to consolidate that into one, or does it want it to be separate? That's all. Okay, if you wanted to
Sorry,
consolidate,
run that by me one more time.
so let's say that screws. There are 3 production orders, or there are that need screws at different times. Should I
see.
create should I create 3 purchase orders, or should I create one with the total quantity?
Oh, all right. But they could be weeks apart.
Yeah, depending on what we need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Consolidate.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can control that supply of to console. So in my stock item, again, if you click on that use days of supply, in my stock item, there is a field called days of supply. And I can say, okay, if the days of supply happens, if the requirement happens to be within a week, I can say 7. So
Yeah.
if both the requirements are within 7 days, it will create one planned order instead of 2. That's how you consolidate.
I see.
Okay.
Got it.
We'll definitely use that sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you can tell it, you can just give it a day.
Yeah. Yep.
Maybe at least
Okay.
14.
And if it's within
So
those
right now you
months,
can
we consolidate.
untick it, Nathan. It's not required. Okay.
Well, to me, it's a month.
A month. Yeah.
All right.
Well,
It depends what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
depends. Yeah.
All
Use days of supply to consolidate orders.
So
Yeah,
now what
I
we're-
think we do want to do that.
We would do it sometimes.
You
but
would
can always-
sometimes.
Okay, so another thing is in your case, since we want to link the purchase orders to the production orders, we are not going to be using MRP to create the purchase order. Because MRP creates the purchase order based on the plan, but it does not link it to that production order.
Right. Okay.
Since we want
Gotcha.
to link it, right, we have to use the other option, which we will do tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah.
but-
Gotcha.
Anyway,
Okay.
now let's do this.
We're kind of buffed it off.
Let's run MRP. Okay. We are not creating any forecast or anything. So to run MRP, I go to regenerate MRP.
Degenerate.
Now, this can be run manually. Or you can set up a schedule for it to run whenever you want it to run. If it's a daily run or weekly run, it's up to you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So you can just click on the process button to run it. Now, generally, it is very resource heavy. So you want to run it first thing in the morning before people start using the system. Okay. In your case, it might not matter when you run it because, you don't have so many people using the system. But if you had many people using the system at the same time, then the best time to run it is in the morning. So I would run this, and the first thing I would do is, again, let's go back to the menu, MRP menu.
You also suggested running it in the morning before we do any more purchase orders for the day.
Yes,
Right.
correct. That's basically MRP is the first thing you run in the morning. So if you
Okay.
keep it on a schedule, you can run it at 5 in the morning or 6. So as soon as you come in,
Yeah.
you don't have to run it. You just have to go straight to see what it's stored, what it's done.
So it'll already do it for us at a certain time. We'll just log on and it'll be there for
Yes.
us.
4 a.m. every
So
Yes, 4
So if
a.m.
you-
every morning. Done.
okay, do you know? So any program that you see under processes, generally you can keep on a schedule. So if you don't mind, Nathan, going back to the regenerate MRP, please.
Nathan's bread butter.
Now-
in the office for you.
Now, any program that you have in MyOb, okay, which has this icon next to the process, you see there's a icon like a clock.
Yeah.
That's a scheduler.
Oh, all right.
Okay, that means you can schedule that program.
Stop it.
Is what we want.
Hey,
Every morning,
Okay.
4:30
You,
a.m.
no, you don't have to give it an ID. Nathan, just give it a description. Say daily run. Make sure it is active if you want it to be active.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. Make sure it's active. Click on the active on top. No execution limit.
Yeah.
Yep. And basically, if you want to maintain history of how often it ran, don't keep full. That will take too much space in your database. Say last 7 days or last 10 days.
Yeah, good idea. The whole program just shits itself after a month.
Okay. Now on the second tab, which says schedule. So I can decide to run this on a daily base, weekly base, monthly base, whenever. So I will say start on 5 in the morning or 6 in the morning, whenever.
Although you get in here at 5 sometimes. Too.
Yeah, it's here,
Yeah.
folks.
Okay.
Trying to
Let's
scare
start
you.
at 4 because it doesn't matter.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Exact.
And so exact time, the thing is, you can use exact time, but if you had multiple schedules running simultaneously, then exact time is not required because they might clash, right? But in your case, exact time can be okay. If you think
we're not
nothing
using
else is
this.
running at that time, you can say, okay.
Gotcha.
Let's just leave it blank.
Just
Just
leave
in
it
case there's
blank.
something
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. And just click on save. And that's it. Done. So I can check tomorrow, or you can check tomorrow if it has run or not. It says the next time it's going to run, okay, whenever. It's saying today, but that should be, you can change that next execution date to tomorrow or whatever. And click on save.
Yeah, it's scheduled daily.
Yeah. That's okay. Click on OK, please. Yeah. Done. So you see where it says, yeah.
Did we just
Oh,
lose it?
I think we
I
did.
think it's because of that thing.
Oh,
How did we just lose that?
just do it again, please.
Story of my life. I've been losing so many POs lately.
Yeah.
Log's been out after 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. Save.
There we go.
Done. Yeah. And tomorrow we can check if it's run or not. Okay. So now we just run it.
Time didn't
Right?
save.
Now go and look at exceptions. Go back to the MRP menu and MRP exceptions under inquiries. Okay. Now I checked all of these. Okay. Now what the system is trying to tell you is to delete all these orders. Why is it telling you to delete these orders? Because they are not linked to any project and they are not linked to any sales order, anything. So they're just there in the system. They're sitting there.
What are they? Are
And
they
again, the
canceled?
system is suggesting you do it, but you don't have to. So you can just click on where it says related document. You can just click on any one and you'll see.
So this will be a stocked item.
Yes, correct. So as you can see, the stocked item, the first line, it's not related to any project. Yeah, but it's been ordered, and today's 1st August. And we said, remember in our setting says days after was 0. So technically it's late already. So it's telling you it's late, and I don't see any demand for it. So delete it. That's all it's trying to tell you.
Yeah, because it's not on the one project that
It's-
you've got.
It's got no demand because there's no purchase orders.
It's got-
It's not in any bill of materials.
It's not
It's
linked to a
a
project either.
stocked item.
Yeah, that's why
It's not
coming.
linked to a project, so there's no demand for it for a project. It's not linked to a production order, right? It's not linked to a sales order. So technically, there's no demand for it, but we have ordered it. It was supposed to come today. It's not coming yet, so it's late. So the system is giving you two messages: late and delete. So if you close this pop-up, that's what it's saying. This thing is delete this. It's a late order. It's telling you both for the same item.
Oh, I see. Same item, delete and later.
Yeah. Yeah.
So will that do that for every stocked item? Because we will not put a project ID for a stocked item. So will it tell us to delete every stocked item when we do this?
No, I mean you can choose to ignore it.
It's only
It's
doing
just-
it at the
It's
moment.
doing it because it cannot find a source of demand for this. So it doesn't
Yeah, okay.
understand why you have ordered it.
Yeah.
And it's late already. That's what. But you can choose to ignore it. Now go
Okay.
back to the MRP planning menu,
It's like
please.
every time it finds an error, and there just happens to be 2 errors against that one item.
Yeah, there's multiple
Yeah.
underneath that too. Yeah,
Yeah.
late and delete. There's double ups as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I checked all of them actually randomly, but all of them have the same thing. They were not linked to a project.
Yeah.
And the promise date was either today or before than today.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
it was just saying it's late and I don't see any source of demand for it. So delete it.
Yeah.
That's what it was saying. Okay. So let's go back to MRP, please. Once I manage this, then I go to MRP display under inquiries. Okay. Now this is the plan. Basically, the system is saying, this is what I think you should be doing. Okay. Most of them, as you can see, why is it telling you to order something? Look at the type. It's all your reorder point. That means your quantity on hand could have been below the reorder point or at the reorder level point. So it's trying to tell you to do something. Again, it is a suggestion from MRP. You don't have to follow it. Okay. However, so for example, let's take this first item. GER, whatever that is. Yes. Can you click on that, please? Okay. Click on the 3 dots on top. Let's see what is the stock on hand for this item. Inventory summary. Inventory summary.
Can't you just look here?
Okay.
That's the mark.
Yeah. Okay.
13.99.
What is your replenishment? Go to your replenishment tab.
30.
There we go.
Yeah,
So it's below your it's below your reorder point.
Yeah.
Okay. Your max quantity is 10. I think that's conflicting with each other, but yeah. Okay.
Just a little.
Generally, your max quantity would be slightly higher than your reorder point, but okay. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so now you know why MRP is telling you to purchase it. Basically, it's gone below your reorder point. And what was the quantity it was asking you? Can you close this pop-up, please? 17. So it's trying to get back to your reorder point. 13 plus 17 equals 30. Okay. So that's what it's doing right now, based on your replenishment settings for this item. And that way it's giving you a big list.
It's only doing it up to the reorder point though. It's only ordering enough to get to your minimum.
Yeah, your maximum was below your minimum.
That's because the
If you
max
see,
is below.
That's because
Yeah.
the max is
So
below it.
if the max goes
Yeah.
up, it'll order up to that.
But
yeah,
we don't
for this
wanna-
item at
so-
least, yes.
all right, really quickly, all of this here,
Yeah.
We can turn off all the min and maxes because all of this will get ordered under the thing. So yeah, got it.
The min and max,
Under the bill of
will be-
material
the min and max on each item
Have to be
because
zero.
everything's moving from a non-stocked
to a stock.
to a stocked item.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
So the min and max will be zero.
Has to be.
yeah, that's
It'll
right.
be set.
Yeah.
It'll be set to zero.
Has to
Yeah,
be.
some items are set to zero, some
Some
won't.
will correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
got it.
Like screws,
Got it.
monument screws.
Yeah,
They'll have a
4 million.
So-
min of
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Got it.
2 and
So
a
there
max
are-
of
I get you.
20.
I get you.
If you want the system to generate purchase orders automatically based on your replenishment, right? There are two ways to do it. One is through MRP. So, for example, if I select this line, Nathan, if you can select this line on the left. No, further left. Don't close that window.
Not just a little bit left.
The left. That was all the way left.
Left
Oh,
of before inventory
Barrett.
ID, the
Barrett.
column on the left of inventory ID. Go to your right, and there is a selection box. Yeah. And now you can click on purchase on top. So
Oh,
that's
yeah.
one way to do it. The system will
Yep.
create a purchase order for this item. If you click on
You just click
purchase,
on it.
This is in test, right?
Yes.
Wow, that's easy. That saves me some time.
No, hit create.
and then just say create, and just say create.
Oh, look at
Does
this.
it even give you
Now-
the purchase order number?
Hang
Yeah.
on.
How do we print it?
Just click OK.
What's the process from there to email to the
The supplier.
supplier?
So I don't
You
want-
can open the purchase order, you can print it, you can email it. It's up to
Yeah,
you.
just once you hit OK.
Yeah.
But I want, once you hit OK, I want that to,
email it.
let's
No,
just.
so the
baby
system will
steps,
not
baby
email
steps.
it. Yeah, the system will not email it. System will only create the purchase order for you. And I think the purchase order might be on hold. So 18539. Just click on OK. Okay, see, it's disappeared off this list. Okay, it's gone. Now, if you open purchase orders in a separate tab, it's created a purchase order for you, and it's on
Bunch of
the
nerds.
purchase order is on hold.
It's on hold. Okay. Why
And
did it
then
do
you can
that?
edit it, do whatever you want.
Yeah, you
still
can
have
review it.
You want to add
Once
more
you're
stuff
happy
to
with it,
Got you.
you can print it, you can
Okay.
email it, whatever you
just like a normal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
want. Yes.
you can update the projects.
I see.
All,
Yeah.
well, all of them are going to come through as X now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it's all
So
stocked item.
all material is going to go into inventory
And then
and
out
come
from
up.
there to a
and
job.
then
Yeah.
go to work in progress on the production order.
Yeah, you explained this to me this
Yeah.
morning.
Yeah, but you have to remember this one came about as part of replenishment. It did not come about as part of a requirement of a project.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Anyway.
So is
So
the
there are two ways to do
MRP
it. Now, can you delete that purchase order, please?
Is the MRP display
Mm-hmm.
just as a result of replenishments?
So it does that as well. Yes, that's what I was saying.
Okay.
Okay. Now,
But,
in my MRP preferences, I had said reorder point. If I would say safety stock, all of this would go away
Yeah.
Mhm.
because I think the safety stock everywhere was 0.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, okay.
go back to MRP preferences, change that from reorder point to safety stock and rerun it.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
All right.
So when that stocking method, change it to safety stock, save it, regenerate MRP. Process. Now go back to MRP and yeah, just click on MRP display on top. Yeah, okay, whatever.
There you go.
See,
Nothing in
everything's gone.
Yeah.
Everything's
Yeah.
gone. because we changed it from reorder point to safety stock, and we haven't given safety stock to any item, I'm guessing.
Probably not yet. No.
No, so yeah.
No, we haven't
I
given
leave that up to you
reorder
whether you
points.
want this, whether you want MRP to do this as reorder point or safety stock. I leave that to you. You
I'm
can
gonna say
decide
reorder
internally
point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and go
We
from
just
there.
don't edit each item.
Yeah, I think
See,
so.
this will work for me for my steel.
To work
Okay.
for everyone.
Well, like steel and all
Now-
things that are not generally to a project.
Now, okay,
Fine,
that's as
fine.
far as your replenishment is concerned. Now, what about my plan orders? I've created a production order. I want the system to plan based on that. Okay, so let's do that. Let's go to production orders. Oh, open that in a separate tab. Production orders in a separate tab. Okay.
Where is it?
Under
Which one?
profiles. Production order maintenance.
Oh, yeah.
Click on the plus.
Sorry.
Oh, you're already there.
Yeah.
That's fast.
Click on the plus on top to add a new one. Yeah. Put in your inventory ID. Test. No, put in the
Oh,
finished
of the
good.
bomb.
Yes. Of
Of the finished good.
Not your. Yeah. Test house, whatever. Yeah. Test house bomb.
So this is the thing we're making.
This is the entire house.
That's project 570.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I'm going to make one. Now you see on the bottom on it says scheduling method start on, and then gives you a date. Right? Let's say I want to start this on the 1st of September, or 1st of September. Let's put September there, please. You can click on the drop down and give you a calendar, and then you can choose. Or this way. Okay. All right. Now click on save, please. Okay. Now, first thing, Nathan, since we had created the bill of material without any finish time or run time, look at the start date and the end date of the production order. Same day. Okay. Because I haven't put any timings there. The system thinks I'm going to finish the house in the same day, which is obviously wrong. But I can also use a scheduling method as custom. So instead of start on, can you click on that bottom place on that start on? If you think this is much better for you.
Just above it.
That scheduling method, you see the scheduling method? No. Scheduling method which says start on. Use
Yep.
user dates.
User dates.
Yeah.
What's that?
So you can have your start date and end date. But then this is like telling the system, don't look at my operations at all. This is my start date, this is my end date, period.
Yeah, no, we'll look at. We want to be regulated by the move transaction.
Yeah. Okay. So let's put that start on again, please.
Yeah, it'll be start.
Okay. So let's say I want to start it on September. Okay. Please don't click on that use fixed manufacturing lead times. And yeah, that's it. Save. And you can also say, okay, just you saved it.
Yes.
All right. Let's go back to that regenerate MRP screen. And click on regenerate MRP. Yeah. Or refresh. Yeah. And process. All right. Let's go to that MRP display tab. MRP display. And refresh. Just a minute.
Sorry, nothing. Oh yeah, that's because we want reorder.
No. You don't have to. No. Keep that to safety stock. That's okay. We don't want to see other stuff. We don't want to see replenishment right now. Safety stock. Yeah. Save.
It was already safety stock. It wouldn't matter if it doesn't work.
Yeah. Okay. Then it does. Go back to your production order, please, and go to references tab. Go to the references tab. Look at that. There's no BOM ID. Can you please put in a BOM ID? Did we remove the default, is it?
It wasn't scanning anything because it wasn't in there.
We put the BOM on hold. Did we make it active again? Can you please check that BOM is on active? So when we created the production order, it didn't get the BOM only. Okay, so yeah, click on that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's on hold. We need to take it off hold. Yeah. Go to the production order and in the BOM ID, look it up. Yeah. Save the BOM and regenerate MRP.
And watch the magic happen.
Yeah. Should. Program's nuts.
Cool.
This program's absolutely nuts.
So cool.
All right, now go to MRP display, please. Refresh. Oh, just 1 second.
What's MRP display?
Everything's here in time, on full, in full.
No,
Real quick.
no.
No.
Just 1 second. Just let me have a look at it. Sorry.
Project?
No, nothing to do with project. Just 1 sec.
And you've got revision B, which is what
I'm
we
just
had.
logging in.
Full stage from today.
It's, you know how it is, Murphy strikes. When I was doing it with mine, it's working, and now suddenly, like, nope.
We tend to get that a lot.
All right, let me just look at your order.
I'm gonna run to the toilet really quickly. Please get this up.
You can canter as well.
What's that mean? Cross my legs.
Just,
Does that mean wince?
I'm just going to delete your production order, okay? I'll share my screen, sorry.
okay, do you want, oh, yep.
All right, let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see your screen.
All right, let me just look.
So that constraint date is obviously the same as our start date in the
Yeah.
operations schedule.
Very similar to your page. Yeah.
Come on.
I figured it would be. That's quick, isn't it?
There you go. It scared me there for a second, but yeah.
So what was the problem?
I think the thing was I just had to recreate your product. What do you say? Production order. That's all. Since the bill of material was inactive, we made it active. Then we connected to the bill of material. I think something didn't connect or whatever. So I just deleted your production order, recreated it, just checked everything was okay, and yeah. So now, if you notice something here, all the items that we need, look at the promise date. Everything is the same. Action it on 30th of August. Okay. We need it on the 1st of September. Now, the reason for this is my bill of material, everything is the same date. So basically, it's telling me I need everything on the 1st. And this is the related document. See, it's giving me my production order number. And when I create my production order, if I look at my production order detail, see, look at my operation numbers. They've changed. It's not 22,000, 24,000. It's in the same, obviously, steel-based bolts, running gear. It's in the same sequence as your bill of material, but the operation ID has changed. And that's why I wanted you to keep this operation ID. It will make it easier. But it's up to you. It's just that I don't want you to getting confused when you look at the production order. Oh, that's supposed to be operation 22,000 in my bill of material, but here it's saying operation 10. So just, yeah, didn't want you to get confused on that front. That's, but if you're okay with that, then yeah, all good.
I'd have it the same.
Yeah.
So we have 59 steps, 59 operations. Okay.
Under
So,
that entire
yeah,
finished goods.
That's
yeah. And
So
if I look at MRP, the system is telling me, yeah, I need this. This is my production order. That's the operation number 0210. Okay.
what's the PJ production journal?
that project.
Oh, that's your production order type.
Oh, yeah.
So I would have covered this tomorrow, but yeah, just so when we start using production orders, we need to have production order types. I can make disassemble orders. I can make regular orders. I can make project related orders. In our case, the regular order is the project order. I can make, so planning orders is used by MRP, basically. That's what that guy is showing. That's all. Okay. And from, okay, so I'll let you share the screen again. I'll come out of this. There we go. If you don't mind sharing your screen again. Yeah, and go to MRP display, please. Refresh. There we go. And look at the dates and everything. And I can just select one, I can select all, and I can click on purchase. And it will create the purchase orders for me. Okay. But again, this is just a guide from the system. It is not mandating that. So now the thing is, if I create a purchase order from here, it will not be linked to my production order. It'll create the purchase order, and from an MRP perspective, everything's okay. But it is not directly linked to my production order. I will have to manually link it. So I leave this part we can cover tomorrow, but I leave this up to you on how you want to do this. Whether you want to use MRP to create purchase orders and manually link it to the production order, which I think will be a pain since there are so many.
We don't need a discussion. That's not happening.
Yeah. Or we just use the production order to create the purchase orders, which we can do tomorrow,
Okay.
as well.
Let's
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah. So MRP gives you all the dates. So, for example, can you go back to that MRP screen, please? Yeah, we've already created a purchase order, but if you had to, you just select randomly and you click on purchase.
Then it will generate a
Do
PO.
you see that the top two are middies? Will that
Mhm.
create two POs or put just one PO?
It'll create one PO.
It'll create
Actually,
whichever
let's
one
do
he
that.
thinks.
No, we've said not to consolidate in MRP,
Yeah,
so it should create.
correct.
Yeah, so
Two.
click on the top two, please, and say purchase
Then it will.
and create purchase.
Yeah.
So it's actually consolidating here.
Yeah.
But that's
Say-
because it's not linked to a project. It's
Yeah.
needed on the same day.
Yeah.
That's why it's consolidating.
it's
Or within
needed
that
on the
7
same
days.
day.
Within our 7 days.
Yeah.
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 Got it.
But if that second item was 8 days after, it wouldn't consolidate it.
So can we just see this screen if we go more than
And I also noticed one thing. Look at the source at the bottom. It says none, 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 none. That means either the supplier setup is missing for those items or they've not been set up as purchase items. Look at the last 4 items in the row.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can open up those items by clicking on the link and we can see the setup. If the
Yeah.
supplier setup for those items is missing, or I don't
Yeah,
see the
so-
supplier setup is missing because I can see the preferred supplier ID next to them.
so that's why we need some structure around just one person creating items.
Yeah, which is you.
Because all these other parameters need to be added in.
Added.
It's not just create an item, put
No.
a text in, and
Yeah.
No,
away
it
we
won't
go.
work properly in our system.
Yeah.
No, you'll have to do it
And
always.
in the middle, I see one item having no preferred supplier ID. That means the supplier setup for that
Yeah.
item is missing.
So we've got I've ticked multiple items there.
Yeah.
Only generated 2.
Does it just do one at a time?
Just say
Like-
create. Let's see what it does.
Does it just consolidate one by one?
Okay.
That's weird.
It only does probably one supplier at a time.
There is
Might do.
another way to do this. There's another way to do this. I'm hoping click on purchase first.
Let's see if it just does the 2. Oh, no.
There we go. And now click on create.
And this is between a few different suppliers, right?
Yeah.
Lincoln, Middies, on site. That's still processing.
No, it's not. Okay. So when you clicked on create, it didn't do anything, right?
Don't think so.
That's correct.
Oh, so okay. So what this guy is doing is it's expecting you've selected all the items. It's expecting you to put in a supplier code there. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I see.
just press cancel. Press cancel. Click on those 3 dots. Let me see if it has another option. No. Okay, just 1 minute. I want you to go to purchases, the module purchases. And where it says create purchase orders, open that in a separate tab under processes. There we go.
So that's all the
Mm.
things we ticked.
No.
That's all the
No, I think
items that are in that list.
I think it'll be full MRP. MRP will be here. Production to purchase.
It'll be the full list of what's displayed here.
Ah,
Yeah. And from
Yeah.
there, if I create purchase orders multiple, it'll automatically create multiple purchase
oh,
orders.
that's good too. Oh.
So if you
Yeah.
click on, if
Can
you
we
click
test
here
that?
multiple lines with multiple suppliers, it'll
Yeah.
create multiple POs.
I want to see this. If we test it, top 10
Does-
minis.
Does this pull through the project, the production order that it's related to?
We can try. Let's create a couple. Okay.
Oh, production order.
Not this one, not the type, the last, it's the field below that.
Number.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yes.
generally, when I'm creating from the
Wow.
production order directly, it'll get me to this screen anyway. So I was going to show you how to get to here, but we're doing this from MRP now, so that's the only thing. Okay. So if you click on the next page, no, in the bottom where it says next page, oops. Yeah, 19, last one. Yeah. Basically, we just have one production order right now, so yeah.
Yeah.
So can we test it?
But-
We click like the top 8 things on here.
Yeah.
See if it will create multiple POs for different suppliers.
So you can select, yeah, like you said, you can select the top 6 or top whatever, 7, and it should create 3 POs for you.
Yeah, that's what I want to see. So top
Yeah.
2's minis, then we got Aussie panels, and then on-site. Even if you just tweak
Yeah.
those ones, that should be
Yeah.
3 separate POs now.
Yes. So now just click on process on top. Done. Close.
What happens if I click that?
Nothing. It'll just expand. Click on that. Yeah. There. It's giving you the PO numbers that were created 41, 42, 43.
Ah.
Yeah. And those items will disappear from this list now. So now if you go back to your purchase order listing, which is there, you have the tab open on top and refresh. There we go.
They're all on hold.
Yeah, it always creates the purchase orders on hold because it doesn't know whether the pricing is correct or if
Put
you
dates
want to
in,
change
August
something.
dates,
Yeah.
add
So
subtract.
at least in the test system, I've created a shortcut. If you tick on the first 3 POs, and click on those 3 dots on top, remove hold. Not all, remove hold. Yeah. There you go. And now if you just refresh the whole thing, refresh purchase orders, full page. Not that, the whole page. Yeah. There we go. So for the other 2, obviously we need to print and we need to email or whatever. That's why it's gone to that status. But
Yeah.
the first one, it just said open.
Why did they process differently?
Yeah, those are
Because-
both printing.
The supplier setup is different.
Hmm.
So for one supplier, you said you have to print the order, you have to email the order. So once you've taken it off hold, it's saying, okay, you have to print it. Go and that's why it's saying pending printing.
or on-site fasteners were not.
Yeah.
For the supplier,
there-
which
Like this shortcut that you just did, is there mechanism to reprice all the purchase orders and then email out as a batch?
you can email as a batch anyway. I think
Oh,
in under purchases there is an email purchase order. Is there not option?
Oh yeah, there is. We always say do not email. Remember?
Mm.
Yeah, see, which under
There
processes
is an
it says
option.
print/email.
Yeah.
So I can anyway email multiple POs at the same time.
Why have we not? been
I did
doing
ask you that about the first week.
We just never.
yeah. Well, this is the first time I've asked you.
We just never knew.
There was so much else to learn.
You've done
Yeah.
well.
All right.
Yeah.
Well. All right.
And that's
So
what's
if
pending
the
email.
if the supplier has been set up and in the supplier we've said you have to email the order, as soon as we take it off hold, and if the status is pending email, it'll show up here. And then you
Yeah.
can just multiple
Like that.
ticks or process all and email all of them in one shot.
No email at
Yeah.
all.
No email at all.
Stop
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
We've been doing it all wrong.
Well, we're doing it long ways.
Yeah.
Ways here.
So yeah, so this is where MRP, let's go back to MRP then.
What? Where?
Open the MRP menu basically. So there are different reports which are available for you to see. There's something called detail inquiry. So once you do that, once you run MRP, you can click on you can choose any one item and it can show you, okay, what are my requirements for this item on a bucket. I've created a bucket, weekly bucket. You can have weekly buckets and monthly buckets or daily buckets, and it'll give you a daily requirement of those items as well. So any component item or your finished good, whatever, any item, just choose. No. So was this item in the bill of material? Did MRP plan for it? Can you choose one item with that MRP? You can look at that MRP display and pick up one item from there if you want.
Down 19 mil ply. Yeah. We know that'll be on there.
Yeah. So
Negative 12.
that means it needs 12 for this production order,
Okay.
but you already have 104 on hand.
So it's negative 12 out of our stock.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. And it must have not asked you to create any purchase order for this item because you already have so much on hand.
Yeah.
So that listing that we got in MRP display is only for items which you don't have on hand. Okay. And it's asked you to create a purchase order. Otherwise, if it's in stock, it will not ask you to do anything. It can satisfy the demand. So that's what.
That's correct.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
And then it will automatically take out of stock on hand.
Yeah, it'll say that you have the stock. It won't take it off from
won't.
stock on hand. It's just you're planning. The system is only planning. It's saying I need
okay.
12. I have 104. I don't need to do
Okay.
anything.
Right.
So if you copy this item code, for example, Nathan, if you copy it and go to
Yeah.
MRP display in a separate tab, wherever. Yeah. And search for this item. See if it's there. See, it's not in that list. Because you had inventory for because you have inventory for that item, even though I need 12, it's not asking you to order anymore. Why should it ask you to? You already have it on hand.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, if you had multiple production orders planning at the same time and it exceeds 104, then it would have asked you, okay, I need a purchase order for this much.
For the difference.
But if I wanted to see, okay, I have multiple production orders. Where is that item being used? Then I use that report, which I just showed you. Detail inquiry. It tells you this item is required in these many production orders. So you know, okay, this is where it's going. So if you ever want to know where it's been required, you can run that report. It's a very handy report.
That detail inquiry, what was that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's on the left. Yeah.
There
This
we
one.
go. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that'll show you where that's been allocated to which jobs or which projects.
It'll tell you which projects require it, which
Yeah.
production orders require it. Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah. And then it'll also tell you if you created a purchase order for it, it'll also tell you, okay, -12, purchase order coming, +12.
Yeah.
Let's choose one item which was in the MRP display and we created the purchase order for. So go to your purchase orders, please, and just copy one item from there that we just created. We created a purchase orders now, no?
Right.
So go to your purchase order listing. Yeah, just open up the first one, whatever. 1038. Go to detailed inquiry for 1038. Oh, just type in there.
Tab.
That's okay. You don't have to look up. Just yeah, tab. No. Yeah.
-10 out of 80 of stock.
So-
And that's what's
Hmm.
required for our one project that we've got going at the moment. Our
We
one
only need
finished goods.
we need 10.
Yep.
I had 80 on hand. Why is it asking me to order? That means that out of that 80 on hand, there must all be allocated. The system
Yeah.
would have not asked me to create
Unless
a
it's already
production
allocated.
order.
That's a great example.
Yeah.
Can we go and look up the details for this 1038 allocation if you want under inventory?
In here.
Inventory allocation details under inquiries.
And what? So it's 1038.
Yeah, it was 1038, correct? The
I
purchase
believe so.
order we
Yeah.
created. Yeah.
This should show you where the 80's been allocated to, correct?
Why? I had 90 on hand. Why
Put
did it
the
ask?
warehouse.
Yeah.
Ah. See if that changes now.
No.
Didn't change.
No.
Well, it does say we have 90.
Yeah. Oh, I think I
Finally.
know why. I think I know why. Go back to your MRP display. Okay. The thing is, we did not create the purchase orders from MRP. We created the purchase orders from the production order. When we do that, that is telling the system I am not looking at the quantity on hand. I am ordering it based on the items required in the production order, regardless of what I have on hand.
Right.
That's one. Otherwise, MRP would have not given it to me in its display to order at all.
So what do we do in that case? Because I don't want the
Sorry?
purchase order. I don't want purchase orders raised for things that we have in stock if we're going to raise them via production. Those production orders.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way to exclude those for it to check what we've got on hand and issue, say a requisition from the store?
Can you go to that option called create purchase orders, please? I want to see if it gives you the quantity on hand. Scroll to the right, it's giving me the quantity required. Supplier pricing, no. No.
Hang on.
No.
Hang on.
No.
Because we don't want to be creating purchase orders for something we have stock of.
I'll have to check that. Let me see if there's a way to avoid doing that. I know from an MRP perspective, MRP will not give you that option. But when we are creating from a production order, we've just basically what we're telling the system is I'm only needing this when there is a production order in place. So only created at that point of time.
Yeah.
So what we can do, how many items like this you think you might have? Maybe for those
Lots.
items we can lots, is it? All the
Yeah,
small
It's a
stuff,
couple
is it?
hundred.
No, but do you keep everything in stock or is
Yep.
okay? I will have to check. Yeah, if yeah. Let me check. Let me have a look at it.
Perfect. No worries. Thanks,
Yeah.
Bhavesh.
Yeah. All right. So what we'll do is we can stop here today. Okay. There's
Yep.
nothing else to MRP. Basically, that's what we're doing. And yeah, tomorrow we can cover the entire production process. What we'll also do is we'll start from creating a project and we'll go from there. I know I'm not going to train you on how to create a project, but at least you'll get the flow that we are trying to achieve.
Yep.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Thank you for your time today.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you, gentlemen. And yeah, wish you a good rest of the day.
Thank you. We'll
Yeah.
see you tomorrow.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Bhavesh.
so
I
tomorrow-
really appreciate it.
Yeah, tomorrow at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
Okay.
Done.
See ya.
Cheers.
All right. Thank you. See ya.